Each person carries an electromagnetic field around them. Around 5 yards, this field can be experienced. So this water is kind of a signature of our personality. When we are in control of the environment, our survival chances increases. Welcome, masters. Thank you so much for joining. Myself, Shankar from Chennai, India. Okay, so the book that I've chosen for Swadhyaya is a special book and one of my favorite book as well. Mind to Matter by Dawson Church. Both spiritual seekers and scientific fraternity follow this book, and it's quite popular among our masters as well because it speaks spirituality from the scientific point of view. And I'm glad I was able to read through this book again for this presentation. This book was written by Dawson Church. It is not just a one author who has written the entire book. He has compiled research and information from so many other scientific fraternity people who have done research on a lot of spiritual activities like meditation, mindfulness, and he has compiled them together to present us enough evidence and proof from the scientific point of view, like how the spiritual life can be explained to people in scientific terms. So, as spiritual masters, when we go and meet people, our crowd will be diverse group of people with diverse ideologies, and they'll come from diverse background. So, the forward for this book was given by Joe Dispenza, and he says, whenever you meet diverse group of people and you talk spirituality or religion, there'll be some people may not agree with our points, and there'll be some resistance. But when we go and speak from the scientific point of view with scientific proof, it resonates with everyone. So this book can be taken on a global level, despite the difference in culture, language. This book will still speak spirituality at its best. So I will be going through key highlights from this book. There's quite a lot to cover in this book, so I'll just touch upon the key highlights, and we will touch science here and there, but mostly we will dwell on the spiritual space. So first off, mind to matter. Matter is something you can, whatever you see through your eyes, be it the laptop or mobile phone in front of you, the chair, stool, the nature around you, yourself, everything is composed of matter. So, what is matter from the scientific point of view? So, earlier in the 19th century, and when people were trying to see what's inside the matter through microscope and other scientific instruments, they were able to, give it a shape like it's made up of atoms and molecules, and the electrons moving around the proton and neutron. That's what makes the matter, firm and give it that structure. But later, when more advanced instruments were discovered, they were able to say, and each atom itself has a bigger world inside it. Like they were all strings vibrating. So all atoms were nothing but strings vibrating at different frequencies. So if everything at the very basic level are strings, then even from the gigantic galaxy, everything is vibrating and they are all strings. So this is called a string theory in science. You can Google it later when you have time. It's a very interesting theory. It says everything resonates. So when somebody asks you, is how in spiritual terms you say everything is vibrating? Do you have any proof for it? Here's a proof. They are all been proven in the string theory. We are all vibrating strings at the fundamental level. And in the first few chapters, Dawson Church talks about electromagnetic field. Each person carries an electromagnetic field around them. Around 5 yards, this field can be experienced according to Dawson Church. This electromagnetic field, in other terms, can also be said as aura or our higher bodies or even in the chi energy also. So this electromagnetic field has been recorded and it's been confirmed that it not only exists in living beings, also the objects, they all possess this electromagnetic field because the Earth itself has north and south pole and there's an electromagnetic field on it. And everything that's a part of it will also be having this electromagnetic field. So, as spiritual seekers, we might have experienced this when we go and meet some higher masters. When we are very close proximity to them, we feel like we are put into a new place where the clarity is so good, where we are able to get answers for our questions even before we communicate to the master. So, this is just interaction of fields, my dear friends. The master's electromagnetic field and our electromagnetic field will interact even before we speak. So our electromagnetic field interacts with everything it comes around. So it is our responsibility to take care of our electromagnetic field and ensure we align it with the highest possible goals. It's like a television which you know plays out different channels. It's in our hand to tune the television to receive only the positive and higher frequency energies. You might have also experienced this when you're holding, let's say, a baby. There's some joy that comes out of nowhere because the baby's electromagnetic field is very close to a highly evolved and meditative, someone who is in a highly meditative state. So that's why we are able to experience a joy when we are holding a newborn baby. So these electromagnetic fields are important to be protected. And when we expose ourselves to the toxic newses of social media or other mass media channels, our electromagnetic field gets polluted, and it is in our hand to protect our electromagnetic field. And there's one more research which was so interesting for me. It is kind of a sequel to the Swadhyaya that happened a couple of days back by Lakshmi ma'am on the secret message from water. So here, the author quotes in Germany, they conducted one experiment in their aerodynamic institute. They brought in some students and they gave a syringe kind of thing to each student and asked them to take water, one or two drops through the syringe and put it under microscope and see how it looks. There were structures, crystal structures happening in the water. So what's more exciting is each person water droplet had a unique signature. So if I go and put a water droplet in the microscope, it had a different structure. When someone else near to me was doing the same, it had a different structure. So this water is kind of a signature of a personality. And water is a great medium, my dear masters, for spiritual. If you are into spirituality, you should be able to understand that 70% of our body is made of water, and water constantly interacts with its environment. It absorbs energy, and so it is highly important for us to be very cautious when you're taking water. Every glass of water has a lot of memories in it. You can also check by playing some nice music and check. And if you check how the structure of water is, it's very coherent and it's kind of an artistic feel. But if the water is exposed to toxic sounds and is put in a room where there's a lot of arguments, the structure of water is completely different. And this has been scientifically recorded, and the book also quotes the same. So, as a part of an experiment, we can also start, before we take a sip of water, we can try to decleanse the water and also try to energize it with some affirmative words or something, and it will definitely reflect on our health because we are made up of 70% of water, and our water is constantly getting structured and restructured based on how we expose ourselves to the society. That's one interesting thing that I read from this book. So sometimes when you meet people who are just starting to meditate and we have been into meditation for a few months, we might have heard some people saying to us like, yes, I'm meditating, I sit on meditation. During those time, I feel relaxed. But am I able to continue that state of mind after I come out of meditation? I'm not able to. So this kind of makes me skeptical whether meditation is actually a thing for me or not, and I'm not able to, enjoy the full benefits of it. So here our author gives a scientific explanation on why meditation is able to give so much benefits to some people and some people are still not able to enjoy the benefits of it. He says our brain has its electromagnetic waves and it's vibrating constantly, and he classifies our brain waves into five major categories like gamma, beta, alpha, that's a golden spot that sits right in the middle, and there is theta and delta. So he says each state of our brain, when it's vibrating as a gamma, it has different functions. When it is vibrating as beta, it has different functions. So constantly throughout the day, our brain keeps shifting. It's like a gear in a car, based on the requirement, it keeps changing its brain waves. So for meditation to actually give us abundance of benefits, the author says we must start meditation from the point of alpha state. So alpha sits right in the middle. So alpha is nothing but when we have rested well, when we are about to wake up, we will have that kind of resume, relaxed, and you'll feel that oneness when you're about to wake up after a good rest. So that is the alpha state. And then the beta state is flight or fight mode, when we are put under a challenge and we have to respond immediately. That is a beta state. And gamma state is when we are doing some work that we are very much comfortable, when we are able to do multitasking at ease. That is a gamma state. For meditation to give us health benefits and repair our body and to have a deeper connection with the consciousness, we must move from alpha to theta and delta. So that is the way our brainwave should be go. So when it is going towards theta and delta, it means our thoughts are reduced, and the resonance or the vibration in our brain is reducing at a very gentle way, and it sits in coherence with the Earth's resonance. So, my dear friends, when we wake up in the morning, it is our responsibility to ensure we don't move towards beta. We must ensure throughout the day we sustain as much alpha state as possible, and we only move towards theta and delta, because theta and delta are the magical states where our brain can repair the body on its own, where we can kind of experience the fullness, and we'll have the connection with the cosmos also higher when we are in the theta and delta states. Beta is more of a stress state. And also some people, when they are into meditation, and they would say, I still kind of feel anxiety, and there's kind of some fear lingering in me even after doing meditation for a long time. So the response church has for this is, he says there's something called caveman brain, a gene called caveman brain in all of us. So he narrates a story like in some 100,000 years back, during Stone Age. At those times, survival was very difficult and there is threat all around you. He says there were two sisters, Hug and Gug. So Hug is someone who is very carefree and who's kind of in a relaxed and calm state, who is not so cared about the threats in her environment. She goes about, enjoying the fields and river, not knowing what kind of predators it offers to them. But Gug, on the other hand, right from the moment she wakes up, she scans her environment for threats. She's constantly checking what is wrong in the environment, what is wrong in the people around them, just to make sure her survival continues. So one fine day, they go to fetch some water in the river, and there's a tiger in the field. Gug, already being prepared to face such danger, was able to survive, but Hug, on the other hand, couldn't survive that scenario. So what happens is Gug was able to reproduce. Her genes were passed. The genes that help us survive, that gene which scans the environment every now and then. So this gene was able to protect people, protect lives, and also ensure the generation continues. So even after like 100,000 years, this gene is still part of us. We all carry this anxiety gene. It is a survival mechanism. When we are in control of the environment, our survival chances increases. But Dawson says we have come to a point where we are actually not in that much of a threat from our environment, and it is important that we kind of understand that this kind of gene that triggers anxiety in us exists, and we try to move ourselves beyond it, because this gene triggers cortisol in us and adrenaline. So adrenaline is fine at or 5 to 10 minutes when you're pumped with adrenaline, and then you go back to your normal state. That is well and good. It's healthy as well. But cortisol, when it has been in our body, when it is being produced regularly in frequent intervals, what happens is it kind of affects even our DNA. And studies have been quoted in this book saying even cancer cells are fueled by cortisol. So they say if you heard some cancer patients, they would say it's spreading aggressively and all those things. That's mainly because of cortisol. There's one beautiful story, inspirational tale quoted in this book by of Adeline, cancer survivor. If time permits, I will try to touch upon it at the end of this session. Next chapter that I would like to discuss with you is on the group energy. So in this book, they have done global coherence initiative, a study where they have installed some energy picking systems around the globe, and they pick human vibrations and electromagnetic fields in crowded places and compare it with the electromagnetic waves coming outside the earth, like solar waves and all those things. So the interesting finding from this study is whenever there is chaos in the earth by humans, like wars or something, there has been solar spots on the atmosphere. So the solar waves or the radiation coming from the sun into the earth has been higher. So the study kind of concludes that our group consciousness, when it is not in the right place, it simultaneously affects the waves coming towards earth from the universe itself. They have also done a variation of this experiment with a tool called random number generator. So this instrument supported by computer is supposed to generate only random numbers. It has been created to create random numbers, and there shouldn't be any coherence or logic behind it. So this random number generator was placed in several places to see how it functions, and all the places it was generating random numbers, except when it is put in a place where, like a crowded stadium where people were all in coherence and in a happy state and supporting some event together. The random number generator behaved in a different way. It was for making patterns. So this is against the principle on which it was built, but it still was able to pick the signals from the humans around it, and it started having some coherence. So the author says, in order to reach higher states of consciousness, in order to be with the oneness, there is a scientific way to do it. He says our mind, our brain vibrates at a frequency, and our heart also vibrates at a frequency. Even our gut vibrates, but that gut vibration is not mentioned in the book, but I read elsewhere. So that vibration and resonance helps the food to pass through the digestive tract. So the author says we need to align our resonance in our brain, the resonance in our heart, with the resonance of the earth. The earth resonates at a frequency. It's also called as Schumann's resonance or something. So when all these things are aligned, when our heart vibration, when our brain vibration, and the vibration of the earth aligns, our consciousness keeps expanding, 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 and we become one with the universe. So that is why they say when we are doing some work, you need to put your heart into it. So the scientific definition of putting a heart into it is to align your heart electromagnetic waves with that of your brain, so that there is coherence in you. So energy and wealth, health, everything equals to having coherence in our system, coherence in our thinking, coherence in our body with all those brain waves and everything. So in order to achieve this coherence, mindfulness helps us a lot. The book also quotes the benefits of mindfulness, saying it brings in a coherence between mind, heart, breath. And when all these things are aligned internally in our system, it also aligns with the higher universe, bringing our consciousness to a higher state of existence. So we naturally move towards theta and delta state that I mentioned earlier. Through this coherence, even without sitting and closing our eyes for meditation, naturally we can move towards theta and delta. And delta is a very beautiful state to be in, because we will be able to have a lot of control on things. The author says scientifically, before the future unfolds, there are so many possibilities. Anything could happen in the next moment. But when we are aligned and in sync internally, and when we are aligned with the universe, the author says we can manifest what we want to happen. Among all the possibilities, whatever we wish for, there's a greater chance for it to become a probability. So scientifically, there is a study called double slit experiment. You can check it out in Google later. Such a beautiful experiment, and it shows science from a magical point of view. Because in that experiment, the particles behave differently when it has been watched, and it behaves differently when it has not been watched. So when it has not been watched, they are in a magical state. They are here, they are there, they are not in one place, or they are not doing one task at a time. They are everywhere, like the greater consciousness. But when they are observed, they take a form and act like a particle. So likewise, when we are connected to the universe and higher consciousness, we will be having access to so much knowledge, and we'll be one with the universe. Rather than being in the local body, there's a two key phrases used in this book: local body and non-local body. Local body is something, our experiences on this birth and our personality that we perceive ourselves to be, that is local body. And non-local body is the higher universe, the higher state of minds that we can connect when we are in delta state. So author says, like, which is the best place to live on this planet Earth? There's a good question quoted on this book, and it keeps us pondering what it could be. But he says the best state or the best place to live in this planet Earth is when we are aligned with the higher states, when we are aligned with the non-local body. This non-local body is nothing but the higher state of consciousness. So author says every breath, every moment, if we are able to manifest and connect ourselves to the higher universe, we will be able to achieve that achieve this constant touch with the non-local body. So you might have also heard of when we read some stone age tribal people's life, there'll be always one person in the tribe. They will have this power to communicate with spirits. They will be able to see the future. They will warn the kings and whoever is ruling the tribe of potential threats that's coming even months later. So they will have that extraordinary abilities. Though they live the same life as other tribal members and they eat the same food, one or two person will be like someone who has already been in that place for more than 1,000 years. They'll have so much wisdom in them. The scientific reason behind them having so much wisdom and so much extra powers is they have connected with the non-local body right from their childhood, and they have learned the art of staying connected with the non-local body, staying in theta and delta states for a longer time. So they don't let their body react to the threats, immediate threats around them. They don't let cortisol build in them. When they keep doing this constantly, their awareness increases. Once their awareness increases, and when they make it as a habit and they make it as a lifestyle, they will have access to this non-local or universal knowledge. That is, my dear friends, that's how people with extraordinary abilities in the past were able to make things happen. Scientifically, Dawson Church says everyone are capable of it. He says all we need to do is make sure we align ourselves to the highest possible virtue that we would like ourselves to be. Every morning when we wake up, he gives us two advices. Ensure we carry our alpha state as much as possible, and whenever we feel there's a cortisol rise or we feel stressed or something, we have a choice. We must ensure that this cortisol is not helping our body, and we must get out of it as quick as possible for our own health. And the other thing he says is any environment we put ourselves in, any interaction, first thing we need to check how our electromagnetic field will be influenced by it. And the other thing is these electromagnetic fields pick the diseases. They are very, what I say, there has been some studies where they say even before the diseases come to your body, they'll be shown in the electromagnetic fields. Those studies have also been quoted in this book. So, whatever your electromagnetic field is getting exposed to, they are so vulnerable. And if it's also on the positive side, when you're exposing it to the right places and right energy fields, they will also multiply. Masters who have been into meditation for a very long time, they have very wider electromagnetic field, and their electromagnetic fields will not be impacted by others that easily, and they will be able to help people with other electromagnetic fields not much capable of helping themselves. So, in conclusion, I would like to say a quote that has been put in this book by Sir John. He says, "We must always keep in mind one thing, that we are spiritual beings having a spiritual life in a spiritual world, and also we are having a materialistic life. We are materialistic being living with a body. So we must have this, understanding that we should be able to travel as a soul as much as possible into the spiritual worlds, and also live through this life through this body in this materialistic world. This golden approach where we balance between both and we ensure that one thing doesn't stop the other. This is what it's been quoted in the book as a sweet spot to live, where there's constant growth and our consciousness keeps expanding. At the same time, we don't move away from our worldly duties. Highly recommend, if you haven't read the book, to please go through. People in spirituality need to read this book, because there's all the things that you do as a part of your spiritual life. The scientific explanation is clearly put in this book in simple terms for everybody to understand. So, masters and my dear friends, please reach out for in any questions. You can raise your hand so that you will be getting a chance to speak and ask a question, please.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Shankar. It was a
Good morning.
nice explanations. I'm having one doubt. You said you talked about electromagnetic fields and all. We will get connected. So, how do we know? How will we come to know by doing long meditation that we are connected to this field?
So this electromagnetic field is something that is already there right from our birth. We have a field around us, and so your question is like, how do you want to connect with the universe?
Yeah. After doing meditation,
Yeah.
you said that it has written in the book that electromagnetic field higher this thing will get connected. So
Yes.
that yeah. Mm.
Yes, the author says once you start dwelling in theta and delta states for most of the time, not only during meditation, but even when you're in all planes of existence, whether you're at the street, whether you're at your work, when you're able to maintain that state of mind, automatically you will be connected with the higher worlds, because there'll be coherence in you internally in your system. When you have some scientific instruments to check also, it will exactly say that your brain heart is in coherence when you're in these lower vibrating states, and through that you'll be able to connect with the earth, because the earth also vibrates. So once the vibrational frequency aligns, a lot of things aligns on its own. So that is why there will be a lot of coincidence. Even everybody would have experienced this. We might have had some coincidence for which we cannot have any explanation.
Yeah.
So those kind of coincidence, the author says, will start happening a lot more, and you will feel like whatever you're thinking, there is the universe responding to you. I feel that there's some magic always happening around you. Even Einstein says about magic, though he has done extensive studies in science, he says still there is magic around us, and there are only two kinds of people in the world: those who believe in magic and those who don't. But and he prefers to stay with the people who believe in magic. So, in quantum world, so many things are possible. In order to be able to witness that, we must
Mhm.
start living our entire life in a meditative state, not just when we sit for meditation. Hope it answers your question, Jyoti ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so
Understood.
much.
Yeah.
Thank
Yes, Pranam. Actually, I have a question. Where can we get that book, Mind and Matter book? Where is it available?
Yes, yes, it's very much available, and it's common among spiritual masters. Even our Brahmarishi Patriji master, recommended this book very much because all our questions will be answered through this book. It's available in Amazon. You can check it out, and there are a couple of others book by the same author, Dawson Church. He touches upon the other fields of spirituality, like how genes get changed through practice of mindfulness and all those things. This is a quite popular book, ma'am. You will definitely get it.
And one more thing, that in spite of doing lots of meditation and we
Mm.
do, but still when the situation comes, we do an exact what happens with me. I get lots of fear, irrational fears. Even I do a lot of meditation, even though I know that is not right. But
Mhm.
do you think only through mindful meditation this thing will be controlled or something like that?
Yes, ma'am, fear is actually a natural phenomenon that happens in us to protect ourselves when there is a threat around us. If we don't have fear at all, we will not respond when there is an actual threat. So this fear is good to have. We must acknowledge that. But rather than reacting, we should be able to respond in a gentler way. Like, yes, I'm fearful right now. What are the next steps I can take to calm myself down? And see what are the possible solutions I can get to make myself come out of this fear. Everybody has fear, ma'am. It's nothing to be worried of. It's just that we shouldn't let it, take ourselves as hostage. We should be able to have it under our control.
But it's sometimes it is not under our control. It it controls us. So then becomes very we become very uncomfortable and we suffer a lot. So that's what you said. Is it possible if you continuously do meditation? So is
Yes.
it going to go away or something like that? Because to some extent, fear is must, because we must have that. Then we can protect ourselves. That I completely do agree with you. But sometimes it goes beyond our thing, which unnecessary fears are also occurs in our mind day to day life, because the situation is around is such. Sometimes even if you don't want also it comes, it just hover around us, so we don't know how to get out of that. So there what we should do, because I have asked this question to many people, but allopathic doesn't have any medicine except they'll give you some tablets or something like that. But this
Medicine.
fear is still there. And I have faced this irrational fear where you have no control over your thought, you have no control over overthinking. So how, what we should do, what are the techniques? Because I loved your talk today. How we can get out of those things? Because when the situation comes, we should have that control over that. And once we have that, automatically the confidence increases and you go to a higher level. So this is what I have a real question. If you can guide me, it would be
Uh,
very nice.
yes. So, from scientific point of view, from this book I'm quoting, Dawson says fear comes when our cortisol increases, and that happens when we are in a beta brainwave state. This is a
Yes.
science. So, in order for us to not dwell in the beta phase for a long time, we must start meditating a lot. So, once we meditate a lot, naturally our body tends to avoid going to beta state and it will start staying in alpha state. Alpha state is a very comfortable state for us to be. Whatever they throw at you, you will be able to handle with ease when you're in alpha, delta, and theta state. So, I would recommend you to keep meditating a lot and do things more mindfully. And even when you're meditating, you try to avoid those fearful thoughts and surrender to the universe. Like our Master Pradeep sir says, it's better to surrender, and there's nothing to fear actually. You will realize, when you look back, we would have had a lot of fears during our school days about exams. But right now, when I ask you, is exams really fearful? You will say, no, no, no. That was when I was a child and when I was young. Same way, the fears that we think are so crucial today, after few years down the line, you might, when you retrospectively analyze, you'll see like, why was I so fearful about it? I shouldn't have been so fearful about it, and so it's better not to take fear too seriously. Keep it at a distance, and yeah, you just go on with whatever best you can do. And through meditation, yes, definitely your body will, come out of that fear. That is scientifically proven. The more you meditate, the more you're mindful, the body naturally stops pushing yourself into that fearful zone. It will be able to tell you, yes, this something is there, but you will be able to handle it. Don't worry. That will be the message coming from within you once you start into deep meditations, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yes, nice explanation. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
now, Shanti.
hi, good morning. Thank you
Good
for
morning.
the explanation, Master. My clarification is that you
Mhm.
actually said, like, we have to put our heart and mind into doing something. Does that mean, like, I mean, my understanding, is it correct? Like, to do something we like? Is that what the author was trying to say?
Yes, that is also something that he says, because when our mind and heart are in sync, he puts a word called synchronicity, where they both vibrate and resonate at the same frequency. And once we are able to achieve that state, we will be able to do a lot more magic, because brain and mind are two different entities. My heart will sometimes say do it, and a brain will say for various reasons not to do it. So that is what he means. Like there should be some coherence in it, and so a lot of times we used to do a lot of things where a mind says to do and a heart says not to do, and a heart says to do, mind says not to do, and at such conflicts, whatever we do will not give the full results. So it is always best to have them in sync and grow compassion and love. Do whatever you do with a lot of passion. You would have seen people who are doing things with passion, doing things out of heart, be it service or whatever. They'll be so happy, and they surround themselves with a positive field and vibration. You would have felt that. That's because they're not in contradiction with themselves. They're aligned with themselves. They will wake up every morning to do the same thing, and they'll be happy about it. They won't go back to sleep with questions. I shouldn't have done this and that. So that's what the author means, to keep things in coherence, to keep things aligned within yourself.
Okay, thank you so much. It was an excellent presentation. Thank you.
Yeah.
Which is the time, sir? Best time for using this alpha beta?
The author says 24 hours you try to be in either alpha state or state less than alpha, like theta and delta, where the thoughts are less, and where your vibration is also less, and it is aligned with the higher universe. So he says 24 hours, there's no best time and all. Throughout our life, it's better if we do it, because he said that's the best place to live on this planet Earth, not some forest or Himalayas. It is when you're aligned with the deeper brain waves, calmer brain waves.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
I actually have a similar question to the previous one on this waves, where you mentioned on alpha state. Um, you explained alpha state with an example of, that early morning time when we are still in that oscillation between, that's what I perceived with the way you explained, that we are between that sleep to wake up state, a right time to sit for meditation also. So maybe that's what uh, Brahma Muhurt is what they claim at that time or whatever. But to get back after that, when routine mundane hits, you get up, start doing a lot of things. We are not in that alpha state. We're not in that drowsy mode. So you're saying we have to either be in that alpha state, which technically or practically might be a challenge initially. I don't know how we move it there. But can you explain what this theta and gamma wave is? Because when we use technical terms, it's pretty difficult to relate. If you can give a similar
Yes.
example to understand like how you explained alpha.
Yes, ma'am. So you're saying staying in alpha is challenge. I would say once you wake up, yes, we all have tasks to and checkbox to tick, but immediately rather than putting our minds into all those tasks, it's high priority that we understand that this life has higher purpose than putting the ticks on the check boxes. We gradually move towards those tasks rather than waking up late and rushing through the morning activities. We can try waking up little early and giving yourself some me time, some silence before you run into your other chores. And once you have more time, definitely you will have more energy and you can do it at your own pace. So that's your for your first question. Yes, you can prolong your alpha state. And for gamma state, the example would be is we all are professionals at some and we are experts at some task. So when we are involved in some tasks that we are highly skilled, when we are in a state of flow, despite having so many things to juggle, when we are comfortable doing that, that is a gamma state where there is so much activity in your brain, but still you are in control of those things. And theta is when you're meditating and when you have some dreams and all those things, those kind of states where there are less thoughts and there are not much contradictory thoughts happening in your brain. That is theta. And delta is deep meditative state, ma'am. Hope that answers your question. Thank you. Thank you all so much for joining this wonderful session. Hope you all had a good wisdom sharing and meditation. I would be happy to see you all soon in another opportunity. And if that's all. I will also like to thank BHF for organizing this and all the BHF team and dear Pradeep sir as well for this wonderful opportunity for us to all get some spiritual wisdom and higher spiritual experience through meditation.